Okay, so we can start. Now, today you're gonna check about the theory of the writing section, specifically the independent task, right? So we're gonna focus today about independent. You already know that the integrated is about uh, the knowledge you can acquire from the reading and from the listening. Now, in the independent task, you don't have to read anything like a passage or something like that, and you don't have to listen anything. You only have to answer the question from the prompt. You read the prompt and then you start writing. For this, you'll have 30 minutes. Okay. In this section, you'll have 30 minutes. Now, the independent essay will test your ability to write personal opinion argument in 30 minutes. Your essay will be based on your opinion supported by personal experience examples. So you can tell what happened to you, or you can mention some personal names like some friends or whatever you want to say. Okay, and obviously you have to tape your answer. Now there exist 6 types of prompt. Okay, unless you know that in this kind you have to do the same thing. You have to write. You have to accommodate your structures in the introduction, the examples, and the conclusion. Well, the conclusion is optional. But there could ask 6 types of questions. For example, the agree and disagree, preference, comparing contrast, advantage and disadvantage, reason, and quality. So specifically, they ask, what do you prefer about this and that? What is your preference? It's like that. The question is directly like that. Compare this article about something with this other article. So you can contrast. They ask you your opinion about this. Okay. Um, in this situation, is not only about school, rather or different from the integrated. This type of essay is about different things, not especially about academic topics. They could ask about work, lifestyle, hobbies, different things that you could give some examples. Okay, but at the end you have to put the things in the correct order. For example, you already know or you have this base like the structure of your essay, given the introduction, giving examples that are the body, and giving the conclusion. Now, here the conclusion, we could say that is optional. Optional how? Because you know the conclusion always restate the same opinion from the introduction. Okay, so if you can include a conclusion in your essay, it is okay. Okay, it's better because it looks more professional. But if you don't have enough time or you forget to give a conclusion, it doesn't matter. It's okay. Okay, don't worry about that. What you have to be worried about is to give enough examples and detailed examples from that. Okay. Now, the structure of this, the introduction is your main position. What is your opinion about? And goes from the general idea and give to the specific thing. Now, every body paragraph is one example. Normally, you have 3. Okay. What happens if you only write one example? Well, in that case, you could lack on information. Okay. Maybe you won't get a higher score if you only give one example. Why? Just because you are not showing that you have a lot of vocabulary, or you're not showing that you can express more ideas than just the basic things. Okay, So it's good if you can introduce 2 or preferable 3 examples. Okay, what are the examples? In this case are personal experience, personal opinion, some real or realistic uh, things that you know. Okay, now here are some tips that you can follow. Now, for the first decide your position, and it goes to the first part. Your position will be always in the first introduction. I mean, in the main introduction. What is your opinion? And you say it in a general way. No, for example, if I ask you, um, people don't like the sky, the blue sky. So, what is your opinion about that? You introduce. I think that the blue sky is the main color of the sky, so everybody loves the blue sky. Boom. It's general. You don't have to give any specific thing. Okay? It's just set the context about your opinion and introducing what is your position. That's it from the first introduction. Then you start giving your body paragraph. So you start giving detail and specific examples. Okay. Now, what happened with this? Do you think that they check your information? I mean, if you say, I am 22, no, it's something. I am, or I like ice cream. I like chocolate ice cream. That's my personal opinion. Do you think they will check if I really like chocolate ice cream? No, right? So it doesn't matter if you are really honest about it. Okay. Now, what is very important is that your examples are very realistic. That is important. Okay. Honest is that you're saying, I don't know, something about your country or the situation in your city or things like that. So in that case, maybe actually it's a little difficult to remember in that moment. So you could invent little situations or little places, maybe. Like, tell me a famous place in your city to go to it. And you will say, okay, you can go to La Casa de los Sapos, for example. What's that? Where is that? I don't know. I don't even know it. But I just invent a place that is some sounds like um, something nice to go to eat. Okay, so if you don't have any realistic example at the moment or any real experience, create one. Okay, it's not necessary to be really honest. You have to think 2 or 3, I said preferable 3 arguments that support your decision. Think of or make up some examples. You have to detail some examples. And don't compare and contrast your options. If you start comparing or double arguing your things, maybe it's going to be difficult to understand. So for each example, follow what you are saying and continue with the story you are telling and so on. So don't be worried about that. Um, always outline your essay first. The intro and conclusion are not as important. As I said, the intro and conclusion are the ones that only set the context. Okay, they are not very important. So that's why if you could give the intro but not conclusion, it is okay. Don't worry. And usually they the average number of words in an essay is from 150 words to 250 or something. Okay, but if you are worried about how many words you are writing, it could get you nervous at the time. So don't worry about numbers. Don't be worried about that. Only be sure that you are explaining detailed your examples. At the end, you will see that you accomplish at least 180 words, and it is okay. Okay. The thing is that you need to um, detail. You need to explain very correctly your examples. Now, how they score you? They check your development, they check your organization, and they check your language use. As you see, how structured is your paragraphs, how good are your words, your vocabulary, all the language used at the time of writing. That means all your vocabulary when you're doing, right? Now for this, you only have 30 minutes, okay? You read the prompt and then the timing starts. So the first thing you have to do is to outline the essay, prepare something. Then the introduction, the first part, deciding what is your position, what can you do, etc. And then from the 6th minute to the 23rd minute, start writing your body paragraphs, the 2 or 3 of them. And the last part, if you have time, if you decide that you want to introduce a conclusion and you have to give a conclusion, write it. You have time, but don't spend that much time on it. In the last minutes, you can check, spell checking, editing, proofreading, and in that moment, if you decide to not do it at the beginning, you can do it the introduction and the conclusion for the last. So you can start focusing directly with the body paragraphs. Okay, that's on you. Okay, because the most important thing is or goes from the body paragraphs. Okay, now what else we can do? Normally we have 4 paragraphs. You can write 4 paragraphs. Is the average number of paragraphs in an essay, including the introduction, because they are the introduction and the 3 examples. Because it's an independent task, you need to emphasize personal examples. You have, if you could mention real names, real places, real time, it's better because it's independent. Okay, so the 3 days ago I went to this cafe at the in the street of my house in the neighborhood, and I saw this and that. So you explain the detailed places and detailed time for this. Okay, it's better. Don't spend too much time on the introduction. Again, the introduction and conclusion are not very important. Check your spelling anytime you have. Some people say that if you are doing first a first draft or the notes you can take when you're taking notes or you're writing the few words, keywords that will help you in your essay. In that moment, you don't focus on the spelling. You can write as you can, like taking notes. But if you can write directly and correctly, it's better because you don't spend time later checking again the spelling and fixing errors and these things because you already wrote correctly. Okay. And also avoid repeating words. Some signal words that we can use, or for example, the one that I said, however, and in contrast, and you can see in all the paragraphs the word however, 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 you could lose some points because as all the repeating words that you're using, you are showing that you don't have enough vocabulary. Okay, so in that case, you can lower your score. So try to combine different words, use a vary signal words in the case for each example. So in that moment, you will get more points. And remember, for this is checking. TOEFL is checking about how sophisticated you are or how advanced words can you use. Okay, so try to find some fancy words that makes you use makes sound very sophisticated. Okay, so also in the other hand, if you are not used to write or to use this kind of words, preferable don't use it because you can have it's like a I don't know 50-50. If you write correctly fancy words, sophisticated words, you get a higher score. If you use sophisticated words but they are not correctly connected, you get a lower score because the proficiency is not getting is not achieved. Okay, so you need to be sure about what you're writing. That's why we recommend that you need to practice every time. Practice, practice. Start writing about whatever you want, but try to use different and sophisticated words. I don't know if you already checked the web page, the English Executive web page. There is a section called extra material, something like that. You can check it, and there are 3 videos. I think that you already saw it, called connectors. Have you seen them? Yes. I hope yeah. I hope you already
Yes.
see. Thank you. Okay. So in that see you can see every time you want. So you can practice and you can use those words. Okay. Also there is another section in the same that is called extra material. There says guiones. So you can download those guiones and there are templates. So you can use them. Okay. They show you how to start a sentence, how to link the ideas. They are some examples only. Okay. Actually, we're going to check one of them right here in a moment. Okay. And as I said, use connectors and transition words. Now, for example, this is a template. Look for this template. If you want to take a screenshot or you can take notes of this, do it. And you can use it at the time that you are practicing. Okay. Again, it isn't mandatory that you have to use like this in the time of the TOEFL. This is a guide, something that you can use to practice and get used to write like this. Okay. At the moment that you already know how to do it, change words, use different vocabulary, etc., but following the same structure. Here it says, in my opinion, remember, always start with something about you. Give your opinion, then for 2 or 3 reasons, depending on you, that I will explore in this essay. This is the introduction, you can see. Then the single word. First, explaining one. As a matter of fact, detailed example. My personal experience is a great example of this, and again, explain it. On top of that, another example, in fact, detail. For instance, explore more about that example. And the other paragraph, finally, giving a third example, what's more, and then the example. To illustrate, giving the reason for that. And the last part, if you have enough time, in conclusion, having seen that, da, 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 I believe it is advisable to say that, this and that. If you have enough time, you can include one. If you don't have enough time, or you don't want to, doing only this three and the introduction is more than okay. So till here, do you have any question so far? Any question?
No.
Okay. All right. Now let's explore a little bit about some examples of each prompt you could see. The first prompt we're going to check is about the agree and disagree prompt. This is an example of it. It says, we need Zeus. Do you agree or disagree? As you can see, you can recognize it because it says agree or disagree. Like that. Why? Give examples and reasons to develop your opinion. In that case, they are asking your position. You have to choose one, agreement or disagreement. Okay? But we don't recommend that you double argument. Why? Because maybe you lack of time, or maybe you will could get confused about what you're explaining, or maybe like your explanation wouldn't get understandable. So for this, you need to only focus on one position. Okay. So do you agree or disagree? At the moment that you are listening the directions and listening to the first prompt, you start um, writing in your piece of paper or whatever you have this little map. Yeah? Again, don't spend time writing complete words for this little map. Only introduction, you write an I, 1, 2, 3 are the three examples, and the conclusion. So you have a space for each part of this map. So you have space for the introduction, for example, another example, finally, and for those reasons. So you know here that here is the first example, another example, and finally, the three examples, and the conclusion. Decide your position, agree. I think that we need to. Okay. Now, do I have to repeat the word agree in my conclusion? Again, if you want to include a conclusion, do it. If you don't want to include, don't do it. But you don't have to repeat, I agree every time. That's why I'm saying you need to change. You have to say it in a different way. You need to say, I agree, but in a different way, with different words, paraphrasing. Okay, so here we have, I agree, I think that we need this. And here is the spaces for the examples. So here we have work that examples. And this little map, we have a space for the transitional word and the illustration. The T in this situation here, this T represents the transition word. Okay, just to explain better. The I is the illustration. I mean the example. Okay, so use a transitional word and then explain the example. So, for example, that is the transitional word and example. When I was 12, I went to the zoo. On TV lions, I saw TV lions on TV. Very small, but so big at two. Look, these are notes. So you don't worry about your grammar as a note. But if you start writing correctly all your things or paragraphs and all the spelling, again, it's better because you don't spend time at the end checking and revising again. Okay. But this, you can do it very quickly and it takes, I don't know, like 5 minutes doing this, only introducing the examples because it comes on your mind, all the examples very quickly. Okay, I can talk about this and this and that. Okay, write it down. In that case, when you already have it, at the time that you are writing your essay, your complete essay, you can explain better each example. Okay. Now, every example, every illustration from here needs to have a conclusion statement, like the reason why you're saying this. Okay. So when you have your reason, it's like when 12 went to zoo on lions very small, but on TV lions very small, but so big at zoo. What is the reason that you are giving this example? So go to the zoo, see things in a new light, in new light. It's just an example. Then another example, my family goes to the zoo and picnic. Go to the zoo is fun for my kids. Also, zoos good for animals like pandas. No zoos, no pandas. Those are the reasons. Okay. Till this point, you have your notes. With this notes, you will start writing your essay, your complete essay. Always trying to check your um, your cause and effect relationship. Cause and effect is why you're saying this. Why are you giving this example? Okay. Now, having this in mind, you could have this little essay. So please, Karen, can you read it completely first, please?
All?
Yes, please.
Okay. Personally, I agree. I think that we need zoos. For example, when I was 12, my teacher took us to the zoo. I had never seen wild animals before. I just read about them on book or on the TV. But seeing them in real life was amazing, especially the lion. On the TV, they look small, but seeing them so close, they are really big. By going to the zoo, I definitely saw a new hole in the life. Now I have a family and we went to the zoo at summer. My wife made a picnic and we spent all day there. My kids love taking pictures and learning all about the animals, especially the gorillas. This is good for my children be outside. Best of all, they can leave the internet and the TV at home. Also, zoo looks after extinct animals like pandas. I saw two in the Washington DC Zoo. Zoo take care of animals like pandas. For those reasons, I think that we need zoos.
Right. So, can you identify the transitional words, Karen?
For example,
For example,
mhm, mm, mm, best of all,
sensible
for those reasons,
reasons,
also,
correct?
mm,
Okay, very good.
yeah.
Now, you can say, say sensible. Mm, to start every paragraph, we can say, for example, now, also. With those, we start the paragraph, right? So you see that. Personally, I agree. For those reasons, this and that. Okay? So you can start. Now, these are simple ones, right? So they are not similar to the ones we check in the template. Okay? But at the end, they have the same not mean, the same feeling. No? They are using the same way to introduce a new paragraph. Okay? But seeing them in real life, so this could be your now here. as you can see, um, is a little small. This essay is a little small, so you can include more examples or detail some more examples. You can increase. But at the time that you already have something like this, it is okay. It's time to revisit. Okay. Now, let's see another. This is a preference prompt. Preference asks you what is your preference, obviously, right? Now, the question you identify by saying, do you prefer? That is the question. Prefer. Do you understand what is this asking? Do you prefer to use a laptop computer or a desktop computer? Why? State your position using examples and reasons. Every time they will ask the question, why? They ask you to state your position. They ask you for examples and reasons every time. So you need to give all of them. Okay, that's why we said that if you could give 3 examples, it's better. In the introduction, normally we answer this question. This question is only to set the context. What is your position? I prefer to use a laptop. That's it. Because it's easier to carry. Boom. That's my introduction. Then in my examples, you start answering why. Yes, I'm start giving my examples and detailing the reasons for each example. Okay. And then you can include personal experience. Like, I don't know, like 2 years ago, I had a problem with my desktop computer because I needed to take it to the school and I couldn't, something like that. Something easy, something realistic. Okay. And again, they ask you just for one position. What is your preference? I prefer laptop. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so you don't double argument with this. Only choose one position and follow that one. Okay. So you have something like this. In your introduction, you have I prefer laptop. The transitional word, for example, in addition, moreover, in the final analysis, and so on. Then the example, I'm a student, need a laptop for notes. Why? Laptop good and fast for taking notes in class. That's it. Then in addition, my roommate plays loud music. I can take my laptop to library and do homework. That is my example. Why? Laptop is light, easy to carry. Okay. And you can see that these are the general map. This is your notes. So you can write as you can. But it's okay, it is better if you can include what could be the transitional words in there. So at the time that you are ready writing your complete essay, you have it there. You can start with that. And you don't get stuck like, oh, how was the say, how was the say, how was the say, I don't forget, and you start writing whatever. In that case, you start giving what are your transitional words, write it down, give you examples, and then you only complete your ideas. Okay, it's easier. That the rest of the time you start detailing and completing all the statements in the paragraphs. Okay, because you already know what are the transitional ones. Okay, now the example for this, let's listen to Ara. Please, can you read it?
Personally, I prefer a laptop to a desktop. For example, I'm a university student and I need a laptop for my classes. If I didn't have a laptop, I'd have to take notes by hand, and that will be really slow. Also, my handwriting is really bad, but with my laptop, I can quickly take notes. This saves me of a lot of time. I couldn't take notes with a desktop. It is so it is too big and not made for carrying. As you can see, a laptop is definitely best for note taking in class. In addition, I can take my laptop anywhere to study. This is good because sometimes my roommate plays really loud music. When he plays his music, I can do any homework, so I go to the library or to Starbucks. There I can connect to the internet and do my homework. Because my laptop is small and portable, I can do these things. Best of all, I don't have to listen to my roommate's music. However, no, moreover, a few
Moreover,
years ago, laptops were very expensive, but now you can get a really fast laptop with lots of memory like my Sony for cheaper than a desktop. This is good because I can save money. With this money, I can buy other school things like books. In the final analysis, I definitely prefer a laptop.
correct. So they are around 225 words. Okay. So again, here we have personally, for example, in addition, moreover, in a final analysis, to start each paragraph. So when you're explaining your ideas, you start using transitional words there too. Right? So again, best of all, introducing. Okay. Now the next one is called the compare and contrast prompt. These are the ones. Maybe this is the common one, but ask you to compare. In this case, normally you don't write the three examples. You only write two. Why? Because you are comparing. So you can only write two, one and the other. Okay. So for example, it says, what do you think a friend might like and not like about a place you call home? Why? Develop your position using examples and reasons. In that case, you're asking to compare something that the person likes and something that person dislikes. Yeah. So we had two. In the first paragraph, I mean the first example, you explain something that the person might not like, and in the second paragraph, you explain what does the person might like. Okay. So in that case, you only have two. Okay. So in this moment, you have to use a compare and contrast signal word, like however. Okay. Remember, there are more, but the common one or the is the more common is however or in contrast, like the word says. So here we have my friend will like some things and not like some things. Actually, sounds like silly, no? Do you think? Like, he likes things and he doesn't like things. That's it. That is introduction because you're setting what are you going to explain, things that the person likes and things that the person don't. And then you start. For example, the first one, food is delicious and cheap. Friend will like this. So you know that in the first paragraph you focus about food. Then you need to find some examples, realistic examples about I don't know restaurants, uh, traditional food, things like that. And then you introduce, however, New Delhi is very hot and very humid. Friends will not like this. The second example is to say what is the weather like, something bad about this place, very hot or very humid. And the last part, for those reasons, friend will like some things and not like some things. Repetitive, yes? Conclusion and introduction is always the same. Expresses the same, okay? Now, because we have only two examples in the first draft, you might have something like this, like, there are some things my friend will like and won't like about the place I call my home, New Delhi in India. You're said in the context. For example, the delicious food. There are many kinds of food. Also, there are a lot of restaurants and the prices are very reasonable for tourists. My friend will like this. However, New Delhi is very hot and very humid. My friend will not like this. For those reasons, there are some things my friend will like and won't like about the place I call my home, New Delhi in India. Now, if you deliver this, you're showing a lack of vocabulary. So you need to improve this. Okay, how? Detailing the examples, explaining a little bit more, or even giving more reasons of that. So we can see in the last draft. Let's listen to Walter. Can you read it, please?
Okay, there are some things my friend will like and won't like about the place I call my home, New Delhi in India. For example, the food is very delicious in New Delhi. When I the best restaurant in New Delhi. It is a family restaurant and they have been doing a good business for many years. The prices are very reasonable and you get a lot of food. The lamb curry is excellent, as is the aloo gobi. For a good meal, my friend can spend maybe $1 American. Eating at this excellent restaurant will give my friend a real New Delhi experience. However, the weather in the summer months of July and August can be extreme. Temperatures can reach 100 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. Last summer, I remember the temperature reached 123 degrees. If my friend is not careful, he can get too much sun and feel very weak and ill. Also, it rains very much and is very humid. As you can see, visiting New Delhi in summer might not be a good time for my friend to test his patience. In conclusion, there are some things my friend will like and won't like about the place I call my home, New Delhi, India.
Thank you. Thank you for it. It sounded a little cut off. Correct. So as you can see, they improve. For example, in the third example, like, however, New Delhi is very hot and humid, they inclusive given examples, right? The last summer, I remember the temperature reached 220. You're explaining more a little bit the same thing. Okay? You're detailing that example. And this is something realistic. Now, it doesn't matter it is true or not that actually last summer it was 223 degrees. Okay? Maybe it's not true, but we don't know. And they don't know. Okay? So you can say something like this, something realistic. Yeah? Better, obviously, better if you can mention real things. Okay? Because it's not like you're in all your essays and all your answers will be a lie. No? You have to mention something positive, something real. But if you don't have real examples, be creative. Okay, don't stuck on one example. Good. Now, then we have the advantage and disadvantage prompts. This is very similar. They are asking two things. What is the advantage and what is the disadvantage? The prompt says, what are the advantages and disadvantages of owning a car? State your opinion using illustrations and reasons. Now here, what is asking? One paragraph about advantages and one paragraph about disadvantages. Then you can introduce the conclusion and the introduction. So you have to focus on what are those examples, what are those advantages, and what are those disadvantages. Okay, so here say here we can use also contrasting signal words like in contrast, however, etc. Says there are advantages and disadvantages to own a car. For example, I take the bus to work, but the bus is very slow, always late for work, not good, so I bought a car. This is the first thing, something good to have a car. In contrast, a car uses gas, oil, and insurance. I must make a budget. Having a car is expensive for me. To sum up, a car has advantages and disadvantages, and it's the same, right? So when you develop all the ideas, then you start having like this. Personally, I think there is advantages and disadvantages to be own the car. For example, I have a Honda Care. Every time I drive to work, before I have to take the bus it takes a long time. Sometimes the bus misses me, and I am late for work. Then I save my money and borrow a Honda Care. Now I am always on time, and my boss he not get angry no more for being so late. Owning a Honda Care is big advantage. Also, owning a car can be so much expensive. I drive to work every time, so I use a lot of gasoline, which costs a lot of money these days. In 1 week, I spend more than 100 on the gas. Insurance and repairs also expensive tire too. That means I have to spend less dollars on other things like the food and the clothes. This is a big disadvantage too. So I am to think about buying the motorcycle Suzuki 250cc. Wow, it's so fast. I can't believe. The sum, better to be owning a motorcycle. Now tell me, this first draft, do you think it has uh, grammar errors, spelling errors, or is it okay like that?
I think there are grammar. No, spelling.
Mhm.
I see one.
Only one?
But I guess there are more.
There are plenty of errors. Okay. Now, if you can identify, this is the first draft. Okay. This is the first draft. You have time. This is the first draft. What happened if you deliver this first draft? They will check your grammar, they will check your spelling, they will check the things that you are writing. And if they find uh, a lot of mistakes, you will get a lower score. So in when you are here, you have your ideas complete and you write all the things you think are necessary. Check and revise spelling and grammar and things so you can fix them and you can check so what the time that you're delivering you wouldn't get a low score because of grammar. Okay, so maybe for example like writing here this two, we know it refers to TOO. This is a big disadvantage too. It's not the number two. No. In this case, because the spelling is not correct, because of the reference is not correct, it is a misunderstanding expression. So it gets wrong. Okay, like saying here, uh, where is my boss? Here, my boss, he not get angry. How should it be? How would you fix this? Someone?
My boss does not get angry anymore.
One more time, please.
My boss does not get angry anymore.
Correct. My boss does not or doesn't get angry anymore. Okay, in that case. So when you check this and you identify that there's a mistake, a spelling mistake, fix it. Okay, let's continue. Let's move on because we have enough time. Okay, the next one is the reason prompt. This prompt you can recognize because of the questions you can find there, like who, where, when, why, how, or if. They're asking, requiring a reason why. Which technology in the past 50 years has changed your life the most? Why? Develop your position using examples and reasons. Here is asking why, given reason. And here, the reasons come from the cause and effect relationship. Okay? For example, if someone asks you, why should I study for the TOEFL test? And someone answers, you should study because you will get a higher score. The cause is that you should study, and the effect, you will get a higher score. So there is a relationship. There is a cause and effect relationship. Okay? Very fast. You might have the same, the map. In this case, they are asking, you can include 3 examples, the first, second, and the third, and the conclusions for the aforementioned reasons, Okay, very quickly. Then we have this. You can read it. If you watch the video again, stop, pause in this section. You can read it slow. So we can finish today. And this is the last one, the quality prompt. What are the qualities of a good university? Develop your position using illustrations and reasons. Again, given, for example, moreover, in addition, for those reasons, introducing the reasons of that. Okay. Now, what is needed when you are revising your essay? In that case, be sure that you mentally ask these questions. Does my essay demonstrate organization? Does my essay demonstrate progression? Does my introduction demonstrate development? Does my body paragraphs demonstrate development? Does my conclusion demonstrate development? Does my essay demonstrate topical unity? Does my essay demonstrate grammatical unity? Does my essay demonstrate proficient language use? And does my essay or does my argument demonstrate coherence? All the TOEFL tasks need to show that are coherent. So be focus on that. Be sure that what you are writing is coherent. Okay. So till here, anybody has a question? Someone have a question? Yes, no? Any comment?
No.
Nobody? Okay, so please answer this little survey that is shown on your screen. Ready? Someone is missing. There you go. Okay, so if anybody has a question, I appreciate that you are here and thank you so much. Goodbye. Have a nice day. And the other class you will be practicing, okay, with your teacher. Today is the theory, the next class is practice. Okay? Thank you
Okay.
so much. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.